Alright, four boys back here. We're on the 2010 Ranger. Ford Ranger. Needing a new coil on the AC clutch. Went through some troubleshooting here. Did the relay bypass. I'll probably add a little more of a video on that because it really was a good, interesting test to eliminate all the other options, the fuses, relays. We had power at the harness here, but no response whatsoever from the clutch. So new coil went in, new pulley, new bearing, the whole nine. Couldn't really find any good videos out there about this, but did find a new idea, a tool specifically for the job. Now this can grab in 3 points. To focus on there. Yeah, these pins, and we didn't put a third one on because this bolt's really not all that tight. Let's see if we can get you down in here. If you can see, see if you can get down in here. Those holes right there. You can engage to hold this thing so it'll quit spinning on you. And then of course we saw all kinds of other videos about prying it off and whatnot, and all that's true. We did put a little bit of grease on this part of the new coil here. This inner surface is actually machined pretty tight, and it's hard to do on the truck, but we were able to use a piece of wood and the variety pack of hammers. Found that the little mini sledge did the best job because there's just not much room. There's not much room to travel in here, and so you really got, you know, maybe a 2-inch swing, but you got more out of that mini sledge as far as the tap. And we used a little piece of wood to protect the coil when we were tapping it on, and we also put some grease on it. So we just used some bearing grease. But we also found that we did not have the perfect socket to tap on the actual pulley bearing. You want to tap on this surface here, so we used 1 1/16 to tap most of the way. But you got to be careful that this inner area is not actually big enough for the hub that this is sliding onto. So we switched over to 1 1/4 to do the last few taps, which just barely catches the outer edge of the bearing, just to finish the job. And it's not super tight, so it does tap on much easier, but a little bit of a job, not too bad. We could have found better information, better videos of doing it on the truck. That would have helped quite a bit, and it's kind of why we're doing this one, just to help point out some of these little details. Probably not super specific to this truck, but just little tricks. And then of course we had to set the air gap, which on this Ranger is between 0.18 and 0.30, which is what we got with our packaging here. So we've got the air gap set. We're gonna get this thing plugged in. Definitely make sure you get your, you can see the actual adapter down there for the harness. Trying not to blind it, but I'm gonna make sure it's in the recess specifically for that spot on the compressor before you start tapping it in, because you don't want to get close. You got to make sure that it's seated right there against the compressor. There, you can see where the two meet. There's no room back there, and it's got to be fully set so that it doesn't interfere in a resting position. You can spin the pulley and not hear things, not touching. So we're gonna get this belt pop back on and give it a whirl, see what we got. Alright, there it is. Working like a champ. Going out pretty nice and cold too. We're gonna put the gauges on it just to see what the current state of charge is, but what was originally diagnosed as being low on refrigerant had to be incorrect because you can't even check the charge if the clutch isn't spinning. So it turns out it might have, charge might be fine. Feels good, sitting still. It's got to be about 75, 78 degrees still outside. Don't have a thermometer on here yet, but that's got to be a good 20, 25 degree minimum drop here. 30 degree, just sitting still. Not even moving yet. So I'm going to put a thermometer in and give it a try. Alright, we're sitting here pegged at about 28 on the low side and at about 190. About 185 on the high side. So, not sure what the number should be. I think that it could be just a skosh. Could benefit from just a skosh of refrigerant, but I think right now we're going to leave it alone, drive it for a bit, and see what we find. So, new clutch is all we needed. She's working nice. Air's cold. Pressures don't look terrible. Dropping about 175 on that high side. 30. So anyway, I'm not claiming to be air conditioning professionals here. This doesn't look too bad. She's definitely running. Definitely getting cold. That's all we needed.